Hey guys, we have Micah Mitchell, the CEO of Memberium, here with me today to talk about membership sites. Micah, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Chris?
I'm excited. I'm excited. Interviews always get me excited, especially this topic. So starting from the ground level, what is Memberium?
Memberium is a plugin for WordPress that connects WordPress to ActiveCampaign. So that, and those of you who don't know WordPress, it's a website builder. So basically it's a plugin to connect your website to ActiveCampaign so that people who are coming in and trying to access the pages, they will only be able to access the pages that you want them to get access to. So for example, if you want to sell some content, you can protect that content. It can still be on your website, but when the people go to try to access it, it'll check in ActiveCampaign and see if they have purchased or not, basically if they have the tag in ActiveCampaign. Mm-hmm. And if they do have the tag in ActiveCampaign, they can see the content. If not, it'll try to sell it to them.
Okay, so I know traditional membership sites as we know it, it's like levels like gold, silver, bronze. Mm-hmm. Memberium essentially does the same thing, just gives you more power by instead of being limited to levels, you can use tags in ActiveCampaign.
Right, yeah, and you can use combinations of levels. And so people do the gold, silver, bronze also,
Yep.
but they'll have a la carte stuff that they sell separately and gold, silver, bronze and combos. And it does let you do pretty much anything.
Yeah, and I could just imagine, and for some people may be new to membership sites, so before I go into my imagination, how have you seen membership sites positively impact businesses?
Sure. So, I mean, some of them they were already doing a membership site and then they changed some things and it got way better. So it's like now they've got staff, they've got free time, they're going on vacations. But what I think is usually more interesting is when someone's not doing a membership site yet, like they're doing whatever service that they're doing, and then they make the membership site, and now suddenly they go from becoming not just a service provider, but to somebody who also has a product, the membership which they sell, and a little bit of a celebrity too, because once you're creating courses and content and whatnot, let's say you're an attorney or whatever, having a membership site will make people perceive you as a better attorney. So there's a ton of leverage. I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is people will raise their rates on all of their stuff. And they'll get a lot more invitations to speak and to do different things just because of I don't know what you'd call it, the star power of being a leader, a thought leader, having a membership site.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I know you mentioned you're a WordPress plugin. What would you say is the main benefits, I would say, from using a plugin like yours and like a standalone membership site?
So WordPress versus not WordPress? Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, and I spent years building websites from scratch, right? And so for me, the website builder, it's like, oh, from scratch, that's more money. WordPress is an amazing content management system, as far as, it can get you so far down the road of building a website, 95, maybe for some people, 100% of the way there. So that's the real advantage is WordPress. It's done for you. You don't have to go out and build it custom, but there's also a whole community. There's thousands of other plugins and themes and add-ons. So if you're using WordPress, the doors open up. And that's why we integrated to WordPress. It seems like a small niche, but it's huge. It's something like a third or more of the internet runs on WordPress.
Yeah, that's true. Now, a lot of people this is the pocket of people who you said are running membership sites, or maybe even the ones that are thinking about running it. They get sold on this idea of set it and forget it, right? I built this membership site and then I don't have to do anything and it's just going to keep making me money. Is that thought and approach accurate?
It can be. So, and I'll use my personal experience, but I've had a lot of client experiences that were this way too. So I've had a membership site where I did build it and then I didn't update it for like 3 years, and there were still paying members. So now there was still money coming in. Could it have been much better if I would have updated it? Absolutely. But so there is an element of truth to it. You can make money off of content you created a while ago and still have money flowing in and whatnot. So there's an element. But I think especially today where it's more competitive, 5-10 years ago, if you made a membership site about something, there's a possibility it's the only membership site about that thing. But now where there's going to be 10, 20 competitors, I think, it's not really set it and forget it as much. It's you want to build out the course, you want to make it as good as possible where it could be as evergreen as possible. But then you want to add on other value on top of that to differentiate yourself from other people, update your content, do office hours and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you look at your plugin against the other offerings out there, what would you say are some of the main features that really help you stand out?
Yeah, so there's a couple. One is our approach is CRM first. So like ActiveCampaign first. ActiveCampaign's running the show versus some plugins, they're trying to run the show and then they have like an outside integration to something like ActiveCampaign. So, they're trying to control the whole world and then they'll take a little bit of information back and forth with ActiveCampaign. Whereas with us, it's like, no, it's 100% using ActiveCampaign's data, and it just makes it more interactive. If somebody completes a section, suddenly ActiveCampaign emails them. If they click a link in an ActiveCampaign email, suddenly a page on the website opens. Yeah. So it's fully interactive.
Oh, man. And I know I like it personally because you can really create a dynamic experience.
Yes.
Right, based on that and the level of integration. If you were to look at all of the membership sites that you've built yourself or consulted on or just seen over the years, what are some of the common trends of the most successful ones?
So I'd say a big trend is they take, you can have a website with hundreds of hours of content, and it's possible for that site to not look very valuable. So the ones that are really successful, they take no matter how much content it is. I've even seen some that are really short. And they create an experience out of it. So even if you only had an hour of content or whatever, if you break those down into little 3-minute videos, and then there's different sections, like one section, digital marketer is a great example where they had a library of content, and then they broke it down. They said, well, this is email marketing specialist. Like if you watch this content, now you're an email marketing specialist. Or if you watch this content, now you're a landing page specialist. So instead of internet marketing training, it's now email marketing training, landing page training. And every single one of those on its own now seems more valuable because it's its own course versus a section of videos and some other thing. And it's the same for all of them. Digital marketer is a great example, but I have a client who teaches tennis. And he broke it out. Now he has a course on the forehand, a course on the backhand, a course on the serve, a course on the return. So now when people come in, it's not a tennis course, it's super specialized, super targeted, and the value seen is a lot higher as well.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. In that, you make me think of other tools that people may be using. What other tools out there play well with Memberium?
Yeah, so there are a lot of other WordPress plugins. So obviously ActiveCampaign.
Yep.
But other WordPress plugins like LearnDash is a big one, probably our biggest. Buddy Boss for communities, BB Press for forums. There's so many tools for WordPress. WooCommerce for e-commerce and stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah. So the complication becomes like tying them all in, right? Yeah. And the big upside becomes getting them all integrated, right? Is that the main thing that a traditional membership site misses out on? Or without qualifying the question, I should ask, what do traditional membership sites miss out on that you provide?
So there's a couple pieces. I would say mostly they miss out on the marketing. Because most traditional membership sites are like, we want to know when a member is created, like when somebody buys, we'll activate their membership. That's it, done. Yeah. They don't... For example, with ActiveCampaign and Memberium and using something like LearnDash, let's say there's a website and there's 10 courses. And I have a site, for example, that's got 12, I think. For every course in LearnDash, we're following up with emails. So, right, as soon as they start the course, you're sending them emails or other types of communication as well in your automations. But we're saying, hey, this is open, and basically marketing the course to them. They're a member, but we're marketing it to them through email automation. And then when they complete the course, we're able to email them, because we know they completed it in ActiveCampaign. We're able to email them and say, hey, congratulations, you did it, good job, blah, blah, blah. Now start the next course. And so a lot of other membership programs, they're just saying, do you get access or not? That's all we're in charge of. That's all we want to do. With Memberium, it's okay, that's just the beginning. Do they get access or not? Now, can we help them complete the course? Because if we can help them complete the course, then they're more likely to buy another course. They're more likely to
Yeah.
upsell, cross-sell, be worth more. So it's not just trying to deliver a great product, which is a good part of it, but there's a marketing and sales reason for it.
Yeah, and even in that, the value that I see, just based off what you're saying, is being able to have a membership site that you could then add things to, like a course platform. They're essentially separate things, but a plugin like yourself allows you to marry those two worlds a lot easier for a seamless experience.
Yeah, and I should say, where we're throwing around the term membership and course, yeah, you can do both with Memberium. You can have a monthly or annual program, or you can have standalone programs. But like you're saying, I think it becomes a home for all the content you make. Because even if you have a free piece of content, you might as well put it in the membership site, let them log in to access it, and then be upselling them the other stuff, and be able to track when they log in and when they complete it and stuff. So you can follow up according.
Now that speaks strongly to your marketing advantage, because you need all of those marketing touches, right? So instead of delivering, a PDF via email or something, now I can put it in my academy or my membership site and get credit for marketing touches of whatever else is there, and potentially expose them to something that they didn't know was available to them.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Great. So if somebody's watching this, reading this, listening, and they're like, man, I think I want to try a membership site. Where do they get ideas for what you can build a membership site for?
So we take a little bit of a different approach on this question than some membership site people would. And what I mean by that is some like membership trainings, for example, they include in there, well, what should your membership site be about? Like you can become an expert and start a membership site.
Right.
We're a little more like, if you're not already an expert at something, you probably shouldn't make a membership site. I mean, unless you can partner with an expert and they're the subject matter person. So it's funny because we have been asked that question, and other people would totally jump right on it. Like, here's how to find out your niche, and here's how to explore competition and where the money's at and whatnot. And we're just like, no, you need to be an expert, because typically then we can help you. I've tried to help people with a membership site when they're really not the expert. Back in the days when I was consulting, and it's like, even if we do everything right and we get some members, the content's not good. So it's, it's kind of we like to put the end in mind, which is, okay, your content's got to be amazing. And then we can help you with all these other strategies and tactics to make you extra successful.
And speaking of content, I found, of course, when you're first starting with membership sites, or even just creating content online on an ongoing basis, there's two extremities that people tend to fall into. One is not having enough content. And then one is just like being a content machine where content is all over the place. What is your approach as a membership platform in terms of creating ongoing valuable content for your membership site?
So I'll answer this a little bit from like a personal perspective, and then the platform perspective. So for me, I'm lazy. My wife tells me I should say efficient, but I know I'm lazy, right? So I want to be efficient. Anyways, if I create some content, I want to get the maximum out of it. So even if it's some membership content, what I like to try to do is, instead of creating a lot of top of funnel content, like light, easy breezy stuff, and then trying to later figure out, okay, how do we get people from that top of funnel to the bottom, I like to create the hardcore, like the membership content that people are going to want and consume in the product, and then make a derivative of that is the marketing content. So for me, it's like, if I can make my core content and then I can reuse some of it without having to refilm, I love doing that because I'm lazy. So that's my approach. Is I try to start with the core stuff first, and then I try to carve and take pieces out of it to make the other content, like repurpose a little bit. But I'd say in general, I've seen the same thing where people either have way too much content and it's a strength and a skill, or the opposite, where it's super tough for them. But I would say a couple things. First of all, if content creation is a chore, don't sign yourself up for too much of it. Meaning, if you hate coming up with new content every month, don't do a monthly webinar with your membership site, or worse, a weekly. I've talked to people in the past who are saying, yeah, I do this weekly call with my members and I just hate it. And it's like, well, why did you do it? So I guess the reason I say that is some people might think in their heads, well, if I provide more content, I'm providing more value, so I should do this. Versus it's like, well, if you provide really, strong content, then you can also flip that and say, well, hey, I'm helping you guys by providing you just what you need to know to save you time. I still get you the result in less time versus, more content. I'd say if you can create content, that's a great skill to have for a membership site.
Sure.
But if you can't, then I'd say two things. One, like I said, repurpose your good stuff, like only make what you have to and then repurpose out of that. And the other thing too, I know I'm going on a while about this question, but a lot of people think they've got to be like some other membership site that they saw.
Right.
It doesn't have to be an ongoing fee. If you want to make the amount of content you're comfortable with and you don't want to make more, that's, sell it as a one-time or even as an ongoing fee, but don't commit to adding to it. And I've made that mistake myself, which is why I say, and it's like, that's my dumb fault,
Yeah. All right, loaded question alert.
Okay.
Related to what you mentioned here in pricing.
Okay.
Let me ask it like this. What have you seen work really well when it comes to pricing your membership site? Have you seen smaller recurring payments work, or like bigger, one-time payments? Like what have you seen tend to be like, this strategy or this payment, this pricing model works really well across the board, if there is one?
I would say there's maybe some patterns.
All right.
So, because there's not necessarily one size fits all. One that's really popular is people will sell like the $2,000 course, like one-time fee, $2,000, all this. So that's popular, I think, just because it's so much money. But otherwise, I would say there's a lot of successful membership sites who are doing like sub 50, sub 100 pricing. So like 37 a month, maybe 69 a month or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
So that works really well. Like apparently they're able to retain people. It's like a cable bill or phone bill or whatever. It's not that much, right?
Yeah.
So it's in a normal price range. For sites that help people make money, usually you can charge a lot more for that. So if it's a marketing or a business coaching site, $100, $200, $300 a month is actually pretty common. And I think the idea is, well, hey, if you have a business and you take this course and you get an idea, it can easily pay for itself. But in the consumer space, usually they're less. Business is usually more. And then, it does seem to be high or low. It's kind of like the barbell effect where it's like the weight's on both ends. There's nothing in the middle. Either people are going for that kind of cheaper recurring or the multi-$1,000. And there is stuff in the middle, but I don't. In fact, doing the case studies we do, just thinking through that real quick, I'm talking to people on both ends. They're either killing it with the low dollar strategy or killing it with the high dollar. I'm not usually talking to people who have some middle. So
would you say, in your experience, has there been a business that could not benefit from having a membership counterpart to it?
I would say that there may be times in someone's business where other things are more important than the membership site, but that ultimately every business should have one. And I'm super biased, of course, but I've been saying this for a couple of years now. And the reason why is you don't have to sell the content. So even if you're not planning on selling the content, you can have a membership site for your customers to learn about how to use the products. And the one that I think every business will eventually have is a membership site for their team. So I think every business can have a membership site just to put their training and their processes and that kind of stuff for their team to use. And right now, it's like the E-Myth. That was such a big deal for decades. It still is a big deal for companies to kind of get their processes down. Yeah. So it's like, well, what better way than a membership site? And the companies who do it, they do really well with it. Especially they'll do membership site training for their sales team and their support team. And the idea is there's a lot of those people. And there's turnover, so we'll have new people coming in, so it's worth recording the content versus live training. And when you record it, now you have consistency versus live training, depending on how the trainer's feeling that day or which trainer it is. And so I would think that in maybe not a couple years, that might be optimistic, but let's say in a decade, I would think that every business will have a membership site. It's like 10 years ago saying every business will have a website, and now they do. Now it's every business is going to have a membership site. Yeah,
and I think you hit the nail on the head when you mentioned training, because many people may have, even in this interview, may have just been thinking about membership sites in terms of how can I make money. and maybe not necessarily how can I keep money.
Yes.
By
save
turning
money,
that course into training and getting people in the business acclimated up to speed a lot faster. Have you seen a lot of people taking more of the inside approach to what is commonly outside?
Yeah, we have seen more of it. In fact, we've even got some franchises who that's how they deliver their franchise model is via membership sites. So whatever goods they have to ship, they do. But otherwise, what's a franchise? It's do it our way, like it's training.
True.
So
Nice. All right. Micah, any parting words, last words of wisdom, insights, valuable nuggets?
I'll say this, just because I had somebody come back around recently. I had talked to this lady on a plane 3-4 years ago, and she asked me if she should start a membership site, right? And so we had this conversation. I totally forgot about it, and she came back. I interviewed her like a week ago as a success story for a membership site.
Okay.
And she had, we had talked, and then she'd gone and started one and become really successful with it. And so as far as the parting words of advice, the reason I bring that up is just to say that you never quite know until you try it. Like, I don't want to waste anyone's time saying like, yeah, just go to a membership site because I want them, to buy my plugin or something. It's more like, hey, at some point, this is going to be useful for you. And what I find interesting is people, even if they're not super successful in selling their course, they'll keep their membership site around because there's so many side benefits. Training your own team, giving it away as a bonus to other clients, whatever. So I would just say if you have a business, plan on a membership site. If it's not the appropriate time, that's fine, but just start thinking about it, get the wheels turning, because there are so many advantages to having one.
Yeah. Well, Micah, I want to thank you, man. This is their second time around. You came on the podcast and shared some insight on how to approach building and the planning of the membership site. So I invite everybody to listen to that as well. And you just keep giving, man. So I appreciate it, Micah.
Thanks for having me.
All right.